Hello, it's Elizabeth Busby here, and welcome to Discerning Marriage. Today, we are talking about the most overlooked red flags in dating. Now, this was tricky to come up with because I have a lot of red flags, but I do talk about them a lot. And so I was really trying to rack my brain for ones that people don't talk about very often. Number one is your hobbies. So what are your hobbies and how much time do you spend on your hobbies? But it's the other person too. What are their hobbies and how much time do they spend on them? I think you find a lot of people doing gaming nowadays. I'm not hating on gaming. Gaming can be fine. But gaming does draw you in to kind of like a very, I'll say, myopic world. Like you may be engaging with people on the other end of gaming, but you're not engaging with the world around you. And because we carry phones around us all the time and we're constantly being bombarded with screens, translating the amount of time you spend to gaming and how your brain is wired with gaming to screen usage can make it so that you're not engaging with the world very often, or you're not engaging very often is probably a stretch for some people, but you're not engaging as much as you could be otherwise. So depending on what your hobbies are, so look at your hobbies and how much time you spend on your hobbies versus doing other things. That is one of the things that could be a red flag. Kind of in keeping with that is not actually taking care of your health. I'm talking about not only exercising, but the food that you're eating. It is very hard to cook for one person often, especially if you came from a family. Like if you know how to cook, you probably learned it in your family, but perhaps your family was more than just one person. And so you were cooking. If you learned how to cook, it was probably for a bigger group of people. Cooking for one person can be really challenging, but it is still worthwhile to be eating nutritious, healthy food and to be mindful of how you're spending your money because eating out all the time is extremely expensive. You may be able to afford it, but you may not be able to afford it. And so one of the red flags could be either an unwillingness to learn how to cook or to spend time cooking, or an unwillingness to be mindful of the food that you're consuming from a health perspective. One of the things you could do if your hobbies maybe are not the best option, or the person you're dating, you realize their hobbies aren't best, is substitute it with some sort of healthy living alternative like eating nutritious food or exercising or having a more active hobby, etc. The next one that I'm going to talk about is debt. This may not be overlooked in the sense that I talk about it all the time. If you watch my videos, you know how I feel about this, but it is overlooked culturally speaking because a lot of people think that debt, and actually the culture has structured itself so that you think that debt is just inevitable. It is inevitable that you are going to have debt of some kind, whether it's a car or it's credit card debt or it's student loans. It's just inevitable that you're going to have debt. So we might as well get used to it. But that is not the case. You will have so much more freedom in your life if you do not have debt. And if you are a single person, you do not have dependents, how much debt do you actually have? Because those spending habits are only going to get more intense the more people you add to your family. So if you don't have the habits of living within your means when you're single, you're certainly not going to have them when you're married. So that is a red flag. The last red flag I want to say is if that person's life has no service in it. A lot of people think about service as mission trips or something big and extravagant and a once a year type of thing. But there are so many opportunities for service just in the world around you. And the church tells us that man cannot find himself except through the sincere gift of himself. And for single people, that can be really challenging to figure out how to give of yourself because you're not living with your family most of the time, or if you are, you're not engaging in family life the way you were when you were a child, but you're not yet in an irrevocable gift of yourself, right? Or irrevocable vow where you can give of yourself, right? In religious life or in marriage. So you find yourself maybe not always knowing how to give of yourself or having someone to whom you can give yourself. And seeking out those opportunities for service is such an important piece of your single life. I firmly feel this way. So this can be something like going to a soup kitchen on a regular basis, volunteering at a hospital of some kind, going to hold NICU babies if you have a hospital that will let you hold NICU babies, something with children with cancer. It can be something kind of creative from that perspective, or you can do something in service to local young families, which I love this as an internship, like a marriage internship kind of. So if you're a woman, I highly recommend you go and you offer to babysit for free for people around you. If you're a guy, I highly recommend you offer to go do service service around the house. Like, hey, can I come mow your lawn? Hey, can I come do your dishes? Hey, can I come, whatever. Or if you're really comfortable with the family, obviously women can volunteer to mow lawns and men can volunteer to watch babies, and it's all really beautiful. But just as a starting point, if you've never done anything like this before, look at the couple in church who has a bunch of kids, who always has to take their kids out in the middle of the homily because they're loud and squawky. That's the family that you want to go talk to, because those parents are doing such good work bringing their babies to mass, but they're also probably really tired. So if you are not living your life in service at all, that could be a red flag. But if you want to start living your life more in service, replacing some of that time that you were maybe spending on hobbies or unhealthy living or something like that, or just on your phone, whatever, with a way to serve somebody else. So this was a fun random video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, stay close to the heart of Jesus and be not afraid. Bye.